Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast, where we provide you with your weekly diagnosis of everything fantasy football. Whether it's season-long leagues, dynasty, DFS, or sometimes even IDP, we got you covered all year long. Let's do it. Let's get to it. Welcome into the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast. It is Thursday, November 30th, 2023. I'm your host, Jon Jeune. And of course, I got to have my guy, Greg Pennamon, with me. Greg, how you doing, man?
Got this Thursday night game tonight. Dallas, Seattle. We'll start of week 13, man. We just definitely can't take these weeks for granted. We gotta strap through for this playoff season.
Yeah, most definitely. And apologies to the folks. We are not live today. We've been having some technical difficulties as we try to get this episode out, but hopefully we can get all that ironed out before our next show. But we will be going back to being a live show hopefully by next week. But so pre-recorded today, back like the old days if you used to listen to the Fantasy Football Diagnostics Podcast back in the day. So we'll see if we can remember how to drive this thing, but should be like riding a bike, I'm assuming, Greg. And you already alluded to nice Thursday night game. We did do a live show yesterday covering that game, as well as the 1 p.m. games, also giving out streams of the week, bold predictions as well. And today we are breaking down the remainder of these games, man, starting with the 1-10 Carolina Panthers traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the 4-7 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where this game has a 37.5 point total. Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 6-point favorites. The Carolina Panthers coming off a week where they fired their head coach, Frank Reich. One and done, didn't even make it through his first season as the head coach there for the Carolina Panthers. Greg, where are you going with this game here?
I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take Carolina to cover, but I'll still take Tampa Bay to win. I think they do play inspired off of the, firing of the coach. But Tampa, I think, still home. Let's still get it done.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under here. I'm going to take Tampa Bay to cover. I'm going to take Tampa Bay to win. I mean, so many times I want Carolina to show out in one of these games. They've had the easiest, like Bryce Young has had one of the easiest quarterback schedules in fantasy football, and you literally go broke playing him.
Yeah,
they never seem to be able to score enough points. So I am second guessing this Carolina offense a little bit, but I think outside of Chuba Hubbard, who I'm probably going to have as an RB2, and Adam Thielen, who's going to be probably, he's got a great matchup here.
got a great matchup.
Tampa Bay, they've been a beatable pass defense, 19th against the receiver position over the last 3 weeks, 19 most fantasy points allowed the last 2 weeks. So I'm probably going to have Thielen as a wide receiver too, but Greg, I get the sense that you're a little higher on Thielen this week.
Yeah, he should perform very well. I think in this week, kind of bounce back, kind of show what he did earlier in the season, just with the game plan that they could have, the energy that they'll have. Good matchup for Bryce Young as well. I'm not trying to start Bryce Young, but I think Adam Thielen gets that bump to kind of borderline wide receiver one for me this week.
And then Rachaad White on the Tampa Bay side, I think he's probably, got one of the best spots of anybody in this game. Carolina, 13th most PPR points allowed to the running back position. And they do it in a different way, allowing, touchdowns on the ground to the position. Rachaad White probably, has to come in as an RB1 this week, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, the way he's been playing to himself, getting good volume, and also producing efficiently with that. Passing, catching, he got almost 100 yards on the ground last week. He was doing really well. I think he did.
Yeah, no, he did break the 100-yard mark, was able to get 15 for 100. So, yeah, I agree. I like the way he's playing as well. Mike Evans, is there's nothing much you could say about him. Locked and loaded wide receiver one.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Godwin, though, I have my reservations. He's entering, the not worth playing zone for me. Like, he does not win you a week.
Yeah, no. You're just hoping for a floor at this point.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
that
why
makes
would
that,
you
that
play
makes
him
you wide
then?
receiver 3 at best. That's kind of, yeah.
Like, I don't want to play the wide receiver 36 every week.
No, you don't. Yeah, absolutely not.
Like, I want to play a wide receiver who could finish in the top 36, but the range of outcomes is much wider. With Chris Godwin, he's going to finish somewhere between the wide receiver 28 and the wide receiver 43. Like, it's been really bad all year for Chris Godwin,
Yeah,
outside of maybe one game where he caught a touchdown.
yeah, it has for sure.
Cade Otton, we both like as our stream of the week. So definitely a tight end streaming option. Is there anybody else in this game that is of interest to you?
Yeah, other than Thielen, I mean, if Bryce Young is able to have a day, maybe if it comes today, then that means kind of Jonathan Mingo may have some relevance in this game. So
Yeah, Jonathan Mingo tried to give George Pickens a run for his money with the most egregious non-catch that I've ever seen. I mean, I don't know if you saw this one, Greg, but
didn't.
he's running towards the sideline. Bryce Young throws a ball. I mean, maybe it was a little bit behind. I don't even think it was. Jonathan Mingo jumps in the air, right? He's facing the sideline at first, jumps in the air, rotates his body so his feet then are now facing his back is to the sideline, and basically just like throws his legs out like he did not get a foot in bounds. I had to watch it like 3 or 4 times because I was just like, how, like, what compelled you to do this?
He wasn't even not even college. That's good. He just
Yeah, like, so yeah, it was quite interesting, but I do like Jonathan Mingo. He's a height, weight, speed kind of player, so um didn't have a ton of college production over multiple years. I think had just one really big year of college production, or not even a big year, but um, hopefully he's a guy that can show something down the stretch here. Anything else before we move on to the next one, Greg?
no.
Oh man, interesting football. I mean, this is probably going to go to overtime. Probably ending a tie here. We've got the 8-3 San Francisco 49ers going to Philadelphia to take on the 10-1 Philadelphia Eagles, where this game has a 46-point total, and the Philadelphia Eagles are 1.5-point underdogs at home here.
Yeah, it started at -3, so looks like it's moved. Actually, it might have moved to -3.
It's -3 now.
Yeah, San
Okay,
Fran.
well, the
Yeah,
initial line opened at -1.5.
it's crazy.
Uh, that's kind of wild.
It is. That basically means they're -6 on the road, probably. That's
Correct.
crazy.
Um, I'm glad that I'm glad that I didn't know this information when I made my picks because I'm going with the under on 46. I'm going with San Fran to cover 1.5. I'm going with San Fran to win this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the under as well, but I'm gonna take Philly to cover and Philly to win. They
Yeah, I
just
mean
they just
this
get it
game
done.
this game is definitely going to be an interesting one. The San Francisco 49ers vehemently feel that had Brock Purdy not gotten injured in the NFC Championship game, that they would have been on their way to a Super Bowl last year with a rematch against the Chiefs. Obviously, that didn't happen, and forgot who was their backup. I don't even remember.
At that point, I'm not sure.
Because
People wanted McCaffrey, but
did the backup get hurt too?
yeah, I mean, Brock Purdy was the third option already. So
Correct, but somebody had to be. Was it Josh Rosen?
no, it wasn't Josh Rosen. It was
All right,
yeah.
I will find out because I need to know like why, because we did see McCaffrey at one point just taking snaps at quarterback.
Yeah, yeah.
So not yeah, I'll look into that. But Greg, as far as it goes from the fantasy options, I mean, let's start on the Niners side. How do you not like this Niners offense in this
Yeah.
matchup
I,
against Philadelphia? I mean, Brock
yeah.
Purdy has probably the best matchup of the bunch. Philadelphia allowing the most fantasy points to the quarterback position over the last 3 games. How confident are you in this passing attack this week?
Yeah, Brock Purdy should definitely bounce back from I would say off week last week for sure. I mean, they didn't really need him as much either, but could have thought it had a bigger week. I think he has the big QB1 week this week. Philly's secondary has been the one consistent thing I think all year that continues to be vulnerable. So yeah, Purdy is gonna be eating. Ayuk should eat. George Kittle should also eat. Yeah, and Debo should get his. I think Eagles are just used to being back and forth games, so everyone could be an option for both sides.
Yeah, I definitely like this one here. Purdy's gonna be a QB1 for me for sure. Kittle, yeah, a really nice spot for him. He'll be a tight end one for me. I do like Ayuk, greater sign Debo Samuel this week. I mean,
Yeah,
this is a wide receiver game. This is a wide receiver matchup. Love Ayuk in this one. I will probably treat Debo as a wide receiver 3 though this week, coming off even the big game.
yeah, I'll probably take him as a wide receiver too.
Fair. And then CMC, I don't care what the running back. Well, I don't care what that looks like. The running game, it does not
Oh yeah,
matter.
we
We're
don't even meant to
26
mention
against
him. He's made that category like
auto start.
auto
Uh,
start anytime touchdown.
uh, on the Philadelphia side, Devontae Smith has been on a roll here. Uh, Definitely has re-entered the wide receiver 1 territory. This is a tough matchup though. San Fran, 23rd most PPR points allowed to the wide receiver position. So are you fearful at all of Devontae and or AJ? I mean, AJ Brown, I think you're going to play. Devontae, I think, is the one that comes with the most questions.
Yeah, I think if they had a tight end, maybe, but nah, I think, it's really going to be to these two players, all the targets, most of the majority of the targets. Um, yeah, I'm not fearful of either of them and Jalen Hurts to start.
Yeah, I'm not fearful there either. If we're being honest here, I think Hurts obviously he'll find a way to get it done. Just
Yeah.
his legs alone. DeAndre Swift has been seeing really good volume there, but the
Mhm.
matchup here is tough. San Fran 29th most PPR points allowed to the running back position, so very tough matchup for opposing running backs. But I think the hope is here that Swift gets enough volume, catches some passes, and I mean, it's been rough getting the end zone because, like you said the other day with the Jalen Hurts meme, it's clear and obvious what's happening, and they don't even try to trick you. They're like,
No,
nope, this is what
it's
we're
not.
doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Three, I would say 2 yards and under. If it's first and second, yeah, they're going in.
Yeah, so I did see that Josh Johnson did enter that
Josh Johnson.
game
Yes.
last year. He was the backup.
Yes.
But I get the sense he got hurt too
That is possible, I think, as well. Yeah.
because
I think so. I think so.
because I don't see him in the play-by-play at all after the
Yeah.
second quarter.
I think he did get hurt too.
Or no,
Yeah.
sorry, after the third quarter. Yeah, he did not I don't see him at all again. Um, and it's just funny because now I think about it, that's why they've reinstated that rule that they used to have years ago where you could have an emergency quarterback, a third quarterback. They would dress, they could be on the sideline, but they could only play if there's an injury to your first two quarterbacks. And I think
Mm.
that's why this game was, the impetus for that rule being reinstated. So,
It will
uh,
be the 49ers. I mean, it seems like for a successful team, they've had probably like 10 quarterbacks in like the past 4 years. It's crazy.
yeah, man. Anything else on this game, Greg, before we move on?
Oh no, should be a good
Do,
one.
One question. Do you think Dallas Goddard plays?
No.
Yeah, me neither. Moving on to this next game here, we've got the 7-4 Cleveland Browns traveling to Los Angeles to take on the 5-6 Los Angeles Rams. This game has a 38.5 point total, and the LA Rams are 4.5 point favorites. I think that line very well could have moved, but that's the line that I have 4.5 here. Uh, Greg, where are you going with this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take Cleveland to cover, but and I'm gonna take Cleveland to win.
Okay, I'm going to Cleveland to cover 4.5, but I will take the Rams to win this game. Yeah, Greg, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. I know that you were pushing LA Rams as your defensive stream of the week here.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking the under. I mean, it's going to be ugly, but I think Cleveland somehow just finds a way based off their run game. Not sure who's going to start at quarterback, but the Rams haven't been able to punch it in the end zone this year, and Cleveland's defense is also going to have a day.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's looking like it's pretty much going to be two options. It's either DTR at quarterback for the Browns this week, or it's going to be Joe Flacco. They've already elevated Joe Flacco to number 2 on the depth chart, so it definitely won't be PJ Walker. So if DTR can uh, exit concussion protocol, then we get Joe Flacco, or then obviously he'll make the start. If not, uh, then we will get Joe Flacco. Um, Whoever starts at quarterback, I think David Njoku is probably the most reliable pass catcher for the Browns. Do you feel that way, Greg?
Yeah, definitely agree with that.
And then I'm not afraid of Jerome Ford in this matchup, despite regardless of who the quarterback is. I think he's going to get enough volume to at least give you an RB2 type day.
Absolutely, yeah.
On the Rams side, it looks a little bit uglier. The Cleveland defense is, obviously very good, except there's one weakness that they have recently acquired, and that is to opposing running backs, where over their last 3 games, they've allowed the 8th most PPR points to the position. So Kyron Williams, who's coming off a day, I think comes in for another great spot here. I mean, he is a league winner, Kyron Williams is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got to still play him in his matchup as. I mean, it's tough. I think he's earned a strong RB2. Possible still borderline RB1 upside. Whoever's getting in the end zone is going to be Kyron Williams for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's an RB1 just based on the usage, the role, the volume, his work his usage in the pass game, and the touchdown opportunity. I will definitely have him as an RB1 this week. Bigger question is, what do you do with the wide receivers? Cleveland allows the 30th most PPR points to that position. So how do you approach the situation between Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp?
Yeah, I do think they get a downgrade, both of them. So I kind of see them as low on wide receiver 2s, probably with some wide receiver 3 floor. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's wide receiver 3s for me this week between the both of them. I think I've talked about this in the past, and at first it was anecdotal, and then I've seen data to back it up. Puka Nacua struggles against man coverage. He could thrive against zone, but in man coverage, he kind of struggles to consistently get open. And the Cleveland Browns run a lot of man coverage, and they've obviously got some really good corners there, and Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome. So, kind of leaning towards sitting Puka. I mean, I kind of talked about it the other day. In the League of Extraordinary People, I'm benching Puka this week to start Deontay Johnson. Beside Tank Dell. So, uh, yeah, I'm anticipating a tough week for Puka.
Yeah, I think I'm with that decision. I mean, especially if they're gonna continue to get better. The matchup's better for Deontay as well. Yeah.
Anything else on this game, Greg?
No.
Moving on to Sunday Night Football, we've got the 8-3 Kansas City Chiefs traveling to Green Bay, Lambeau Field, to take on the 5-6 Green Bay Packers. This game has a 42.5 point total, where the Green Bay Packers are 6.5 point dogs at home here. I am going to take the over here. I will take the Green Bay Packers to cover the 6.5, but I'm going to take Kansas City to win this game.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the under. I'm gonna take Green Bay to cover. I mean, sorry, Kansas City to cover. Kansas City to win.
Jordan Love has been rolling.
Yes.
Most definitely. Kansas City over their last 3 games. The 19th most PPR points, or 19th most fantasy points to the quarterback position. But Jordan Love has been, again, very good during that stretch. I think it's 2 or 3 straight 20-point outings, maybe two straight 20-point outings at least. Um, but I know he's got 3 in his last few games there. Greg, where are you going, or how do you view Jordan Love in this week against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs?
Yeah, I do like his matchup. I mean, it's not the best of matchups, but I like how he's playing right now. Got a rhythm. I think he can get a couple passing touchdowns against his team or a solid yardage total. So yeah, he's in probably like QB 12, QB 13 range for me.
Yeah, he will definitely be inside my top 12. Just granted, obviously the week that we have at the quarterback position.
Yeah,
Um, and like you said, he's playing some really good football right now.
yeah,
And I'd be remiss in a week like this to, I find it very hard to bench him this week, or to not play him.
yeah.
Uh,
You don't have many options for sure. Yeah.
yeah, he's got no less than he had 16.66, 20.88, and 26.62. So he's trending up,
Hmm.
and those are his last 3 games. And Christian Watson's getting healthier as well. How do
Hmm.
you look at the wide receiver position for the Green Bay Packers? Kansas City allows the 20th most PPR points to the position there over their last 3 games. But obviously, we saw what Watson was able to do last week. Jaden Reed obviously caught a touchdown, and then Romeo Dobbs, the clear third option amongst the receivers there.
Yeah, I think Romeo Dobbs is kind of that clear three. Hopefully, getting a couple of receptions, give you a safe floor. I still would like Jaden Reed as number one option for this team, just because I like his role, maybe with rushing as well. But Christian Watson is trending to have a lot of upside right now. So, yeah, Jaden Reed is still, I think, the guy to have, but Christian Watson is right there.
Yeah, definitely. Um, Romeo Dobbs comes in handy in one situation, and I'll tell you what that is right now. AJ Dillon dealing with I believe it's a groin injury there
Yeah,
too.
I don't know if he
So
practiced today either.
did not practice today. So that's not great
Mm.
news. But they play on Sunday night, right? So your hope is that maybe he gets a practice in before Saturday or by Saturday. That would be ideal. Or maybe, you know, maybe he can get some limited work in tomorrow. But obviously, you got to keep AJ Dillon in your flex if you're starting. If you depending on how many running backs you have to start in your league. But I think Romeo Dobbs makes a ton of sense as a pivot option if you are in need of starting AJ Dillon this week.
Yeah, hopefully, if AJ Dillon can't go, it's just more Jaden Reed rushes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know, is James Robinson back on the practice squad there for uh
Yeah, I was looking to see kind of what their
yep,
third option.
he's on the practice squad, James Robinson.
It says that
Because
Patrick Taylor too.
yeah, Patrick Taylor's another guy. It's always tough, right? Because how many times have we seen guys come in,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
they come in off the practice squad and they're like, yeah, this is the lead guy, completely jumping the guy who's already on the active roster, right? Like we saw this with Zach Evans with the Rams. Like
Hmm.
everyone thought he was going to be the guy. And we saw it even with DeMarcado to an extent. They had signed Damian Williams off the practice squad, and he had seen a ton of snaps that first week. So I would not be surprised to see James Robinson come off the practice squad and then proceed to be the lead guy if AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones have to sit, which right now it's looking like that might be the case. And Jaden Reed also had to sit out of practice yesterday. Don't know if he returned today, but he's dealing with a chest injury too. So um, Kansas City Chiefs or the Green Bay Packers pretty banged up right now.
Yeah, I mean, you're in a spot where you probably have AJ Dillon. Hopefully, he's a flex option. Sub him in with the wide receiver. Try to find one now. But if he's your RB2 right now, then yeah, it's tough. You might have to first look up who's going to be that next man up.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I think my next option comes. I think the best emergency option if you need a running back
Yeah.
comes from the next game. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But uh, staying on the Kansas City side, Mahomes got to be a QB1 here.
Yes, sir.
Pacheco, I think, like he's a guy who can, like we've seen this with Brian Robinson, right? Like when Antonio Gibson has to miss time, like Brian Robinson was like a bona fide RB1 because he had this pass game role like pretty much on lock, and that's kind of what's happening here with Pacheco. Jerick McKinnon's been banged up, didn't play a ton of snaps last week, and we saw Isaiah Pacheco be involved as a receiver, and I think that if Jerick McKinnon has to miss any more time or, miss potentially is limited in any way, that Pacheco will still continue to earn some of that role, giving him, higher upside than I think that we're used to seeing here without the touchdowns.
Yeah, I mean, they can give him the stuff that, they weren't giving McKinnon to start with anyway. So, just Pacheco is just taking, what could have been. So that's good.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Pacheco is and I think I was kind of guilty of it too at the beginning of the year, just you know, being critical of him and his running style or his vision rather. But he's come on, these I wouldn't even say these last several weeks. I think it's been, even since that Jets game in week 4, I feel like he's been, very solid outside of like a handful of games.
Yeah, I mean, I think, full season, he's been kind of that low in RB1, which has been pretty good. It's definitely a place you want to be, especially with his value, his ADP initially.
Yeah, most definitely. Travis Kelce, continue to start him as a tight end 1. I mean, the Green Bay Packers allow the 4th most PPR points to the tight end position, 17th most to the wide receiver position. We saw Rashee Rice have a big game last week, 10 target day. Justin Watson had the 10 target day the week before. They both played. I mean, Rashee Rice, I think, played slightly more snaps, ran more routes than Justin Watson, but Justin Watson's role did not change in any way. Are you looking to either of these guys for potential help at the wide receiver position?
I mean, I don't really have I think it's one person in 1 week. It could be a Watson week, could be uh,
Rashee Rice.
She Rice week. Yeah. So I'm not really buying in. I think
I mean, it's tough.
wide receiver 3s, but I can't see, yeah, I would say that's kind of where you kind of can treat him. One may hit, but I just can't predict about who would be objectively.
Yeah, I mean, we're playing a game of probability at the end of the
Yeah.
day. So
Yeah.
I think ultimately, probably, right? Justin Watson also makes sense as a pivot from AJ Dillon if you need some help there in your flex.
True. Yeah.
Still like Romeo Dobbs there. Probably not more than Justin Watson or Rashee Rice for sure. I mean, Rashee Rice won't be available, but Justin Watson might. Anything else on this game, Greg? Any interest in Tucker Kraft?
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're in spots that you had the previous
Luke
Packers tight
Musgrave.
end. Yeah, Luke Musgrave. So there's a league, and especially deeper leagues, I had to pick up Tucker Kraft, drop a Chigo for him, and a Hawkinson bye week especially too. So I know people looking for tight end. Hopefully Kelce
Most
goes off though.
definitely.
He needs that. He needs a tight end 1 week for sure.
Yeah.
The number one.
Moving on to the next matchup here, we've got the 5-6 Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Jacksonville to take on the 8-3 Jacksonville Jaguars. This game has a 39-point total. Jacksonville Jaguars are 7.5-point favorites. Greg, where are you going with this one?
This one, I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna take Jacksonville cover and Jacksonville win though.
I'm gonna take the under here. I will take Cincinnati to cover. I'll take Jacksonville to win. Ooh, I'm gonna change my pick live. I'm going to the over. Over Cincinnati to cover, Jacksonville to win. It just fits my Jake Browning agenda for sure.
Oh, okay. That's right.
So like I said, I like Drake Browning probably more than I should as a streaming option, especially if you're in a 2 quarterback league. I mean, look, normally I feel a little weary about these picks sometimes, but then I heard the GOAT himself, late round quarterback JJ Zacharyson, mentioned Jake Browning on one of his podcast episodes, and I said, "Oh, there we go, I made it." Jake Browning.
Validation. There you go.
But obviously, that is a desperation play at its finest. Jamar Chase, how do you view him this week in a matchup against Jacksonville, who, as a defense, Jacksonville allows the 8th most PPR points to the wide receiver position. So a great spot here for not just Jamar Chase, but also T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. Any, how do you, I guess let's start with Chase, because I'm assuming you're going to have him rated much higher than the rest of the bunch. How do you view him this week?
Yeah, definitely wide receiver 1. Not the high end. Everything just kind of shifts down. So kind of Boyd becomes more of a bench player. Higgins could be a wide receiver 3, and then I think Chase is still wide receiver 1, just not top 5, top 6. Just in that mid tier, low end. So yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Good matchups.
Yeah, they're in great matchups. I'm gonna have Chase as a wide receiver 2 with some wide receiver upside, and T. Higgins is a wide receiver 3 that can get to a wide receiver 2. Not really interested in starting Tyler Boyd.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon, though, I think worthy of a conversation there as well. Jacksonville 20th most PPR points allowed to the running back position. I think I'll have him down as a volume dependent RB2 this week.
Yeah, I agree with that.
On the on the Jacksonville side, Trevor Lawrence, I think, comes in as a borderline QB1 for me this week. Cincinnati, 12th most points allowed to the quarterback position. You on board with that?
Yeah, if he plays like he did last week after we wrote him off, like he's kind of back on track, hopefully.
No, not last week, because he was my start of the week last week. The week before.
Oh yeah, the week before that. Yeah.
Christian Kirk and Calvin Ridley are both wide receiver 2s.
Yeah. I think they're in that area. I think Evan Ingram's in a great spot here too.
Oh, Evan Ingram's fantastic spot. I mean, we
Yeah.
talked about Cincinnati's, positioning against the tight end. ETN has slipped a little bit since his streak of putting up 2 touchdowns per game, but he will probably be an RB2 for me this week. Cincinnati, pretty tough against, or not pretty good matchup here for opposing running back. 6th most PPR points allowed to the opposing team's opposing running backs over their last 3 games here. But I also, and this is where the name comes in, I did not forget, Dearness Johnson would be my pivot if I needed to start a running back and AJ Dillon can't go.
Got you. Yeah, I'm a little higher on ETN only because I think Jaguars will be up a little bit more throughout the game, so he'll get some work. Definitely like him more than Joe Mixon in the game, but yeah, I'm with you on Dearness as well.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised to see how good Cincinnati has been, or how good of a matchup they've been, and wondering, kind of curious now that I'm looking at it, like why I have ETN so low. He's only seeing 13% of the targets, which ends up being about like 4 targets a game, and he's got 53% of the rushing work, which ends up being about like 17 rush attempts. So he's about projecting to see like 20 to 21 opportunities. But the problem is he hasn't been as explosive with those opportunities, averaging 3.3 yards per attempt over these last 3 games and 5 yards per reception over his last 3. So he hasn't been uberly efficient. But in a matchup like this against Cincinnati, if he can, be more efficient, then I think obviously the ceiling is the roof here.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to that money time, man. Those starts of the week. Greg, where are you going with your quarterback start of the week this week?
Yeah, gotta go with Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy going against Philadelphia. We're attacking Philadelphia secondary all year. Coming off a shaky performance last week, I think he bounces back, gets it done. Shows why he's been kind of that solid high in QB1 all year. And get his kind of a revenge game for him, as in the fact that he never got this in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, I mean, this will be a huge confidence builder for the San Francisco 49ers if they can, even if they don't win this game, if they keep it close.
Yeah.
Going into that, because
'Cause I feel like they'll get a rematch, most likely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I didn't want to say it, but it really feels like these two are headed on a crash course for the NFC Championship game. So uh, I think it'll be huge that Brock Purdy could, have some success against this Philadelphia defense.
Mm.
I'm going with my quarterback start of the week. Give me Russell Wilson going up against Houston. Love this spot. Houston's a great matchup for quarterbacks. This game is only one of two games with an opening line of greater than 45 points with a spread less than 3.5. So should be a high scoring back and forth game. Russ has been playing really well over his last three games, averaging 16.6 fantasy points per game, which is 14th at the position during that time span. He's also been running as of late, averaging 21.7 rushing yards per game during that span, scoring one touchdown on the ground. And on the season, he's playing like the Russ that we're used to seeing from his Seattle days. His 6.3% touchdown rate, that's in line with what he had in his career at Seattle, 6.2, and his 1.3% interception rate, also in line with his career in Seattle at 1.2. So I love that to go along with a 68% completion rate. Absolutely love this spot here for Russell Wilson, who, again, going up against Houston, sixth most fantasy points allowed to the quarterback position over their last three matchups. I think he's got to be in your lineup this week, especially in a week like this week.
Yeah, man. Going against Houston, this is going to be a good game for Russell Wilson. Expecting multiple touchdown passes. It's Mr. Unlimited, man.
Mr. Unlimited. Greg, your running back start of the week this week. What do you got?
Yeah, going with Derrick Henry, going against Indy. Indy he's in a great spot here. Classic AFC, script for him, AFC South game for him as well. Indy allowing over 100 yards rushing per game to running backs. Only 8 teams are doing that in the league, so he's in a really good spot here. So to eat and hopefully get into that end zone as well, with adding to hopefully 100-yard day.
Absolutely love that one there. My running back start of the week goes into night's game, Thursday night start of the week. One of my favorite parts about the schedule switch up. Tony Pollard going up against Seattle. It's been a disappointing season on the whole for Pollard. Was widely a top 6 option at the running back position off the board during draft season. And on the year, he's been the running back 11 in total PPR points, averaging about 13.9 points per game. But over the last 3 weeks, he's the RB9 in total fantasy points, averaging 15.3 PPR points per game. So trending up and just in time for a fantastic matchup against the Seattle defense, who allows the most PPR points to the running back position over their last 3 games. Start this man up here. Tony Pollard, let's go.
Absolutely, man. You already know we already got all of our bets kind of centered around him as well. Putting our money where my mouth is, man. Tony Pollard's going to eat tonight.
Most definitely. Greg, wide receiver start of the week. What do you got?
Yeah, man. Going Adam Thielen, going against Tampa Bay. We talked about how they was able to Bryce Young being a good spot here. I think it starts with Adam Thielen giving those early year receiver numbers. Tampa Bay allowing the second most receiving yards to wide receivers per game this year. Adam Thielen should eat, and I do like me some Little Mingo this week as well.
Yeah, man. Going pancakes without the syrup there. Receivers are not playing the quarterback. Yeah, I like the spot here for them. Just been so hard for me to trust Bryce Young. He's actually even burned me. Bryce Young has, because I did go out, make him a stream of the week before, failed miserably. But Adam Thielen has been, outside of a handful of games, has been money all year. So I like this one here. My wide receiver start of the week, I'm going to a guy that you constantly bang the drum for, Courtland Sutton.
Yes, sir.
Man has assumed the number 1 receiver role for Russell Wilson in Denver. And believe it or not, Greg, I don't know if you remember, but I was all about the Russell Wilson Courtland Sutton stack last year. It was one of my most sought after stacks because I, again, love the price point on both of these guys. And obviously that didn't pan out. But alas, here we are, where Sutton has been a strong wide receiver too, pretty much all year, scoring less than 9.1 PPR points just once. And that was against the Jets. And he's scoring less than double digits, or he scored less than double digits just one other time, which was last week against Cleveland. Those are two very good matchups, or very tough matchups, I should say, for opposing wide receivers. So essentially, those are the only times he hasn't come through for you. Other than that, he's given you double-digit outings in every other game. And again, he hasn't come through in essentially in these bad matchups. That's not the case this week. He's facing off against a Houston defense, which allows the sixth most PPR points to the wide receiver position over their last 3 games. Already touched on the potential back and forth nature of this game. This should be a fun one here for the Broncos duo.
Yeah, man. Cortland Sutton been out there all year. One of my other favorite memes is Russell Wilson just looking down the field and saying, F it, Cortland Sutton's down there somewhere. It's been great for him this year.
Most definitely, man. Greg, your tight end start of the week this week, man. What do you got?
Yeah, going deep in the bag this week, going with Hunter Henry, going against the LA Chargers. Definitely in a great spot here as well. Another team that gives up a lot of receiving yards at tight end position. I think, the Chargers are third most in the league at 65 per game. Hunter Henry, I think, gives you those weeks where he had early in the season where he was getting 5-6 receptions a game in the first 2 weeks, getting close to 60 yards receiving. So I think we see that and possibly a chance to get in the end zone.
Yeah, man, I like this one here. Patriots seem to be making a change at quarterback with Bailey Zappi too, so we'll see if that lifts the floor here for Hunter Henry as well. My tight end start of the week this week, I'm going with Evan Ingram. Ingram is the tight end 7 in both total PPR points and PPR points per game at the tight end position. Typically, that's not all that impressive. However, when you consider the fact that he's yet to score a touchdown, I think it's pretty impressive. He's the only tight end currently in the top 12 to have yet to score a touchdown. If you gave him if you gave him 3.75 touchdowns, that's the average amount of touchdowns scored by the top 12 tight ends this year, he would be the tight end 5 in total fantasy points. That's pretty wild when you think about it. He's getting it done because he's third at the position in targets and receptions, behind only TJ Hawkinson and Travis Kelce in both categories, respectively. And since week 8, the Bengals, who he's playing this week, have allowed 11 targets to opposing tight end 1s 3 times since week 8. And they very well could have been 4 times had Mark Andrews not gone down on the first offensive drive in the Baltimore game. The Cincinnati Bengals allowed the 7th most PPR points to the tight end position. I'm totally expecting Ingram to continue seeing those targets. And who knows, maybe he finds the end zone this week. You're muted.
To be back. He definitely think he's going to have a great week here. The matchup is excellent. I mean, he probably got the best matchup of any tight end on the week.
Yeah, it's a great spot for him here. But now it's time to play our favorite game, some Get Money. And because we are pre-recording, I don't have the sound effects, so cha-ching, 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 cha-ching.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, yes.
So, Greg, it is, I believe, I have to go back and look, but I think it's 5-4.
Yeah, I just think I'm up 1 week. That's all.
You're up 1 week.
Yeah.
Actually, it can't be 5-4 because we are in like week 13. I don't know what the record is, but you have a lead by 1. I'll get the record another time, but it is in odd week, so I will have the first pick today.
Okay.
And this is gonna sound crazy, man, but I feel like he unlocks the slate. My first pick, give me Zach Moss, 5,600, going up against Tennessee.
Great value. Yeah, amazing value. I just need to get in on this. I'm gonna take for my first pick Tyreek Hill. I'm spending the bread, 10,000 wide receiver position.
I feel that for sure.
Yeah.
Well, continue to give me these running backs here. Give me Jaylen Warren, 6,500, going up against Arizona.
Yeah, like that. At my RB1, I'm gonna take Brian Robinson, 8,100, going against the Jets.
For my first wide receiver, give me my wide receiver start of the week and Cortland Sutton, 6,900 going up against Houston.
For my quarterback, I'm gonna take the stack. I'm gonna give me Tua, 8,400. Going against Washington as well. Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm gonna just do this now. Give me for my second wide receiver. Give me Jalen Waddle, 7,800.
Like that. I meant to say, sorry, Bijan Robinson. I don't know if I mention that.
You said Brian Robinson,
got you.
I'll allow it.
Nah, Bijan Robinson, definitely, against the Jets. So he's 8,100. But in my flex, I'm gonna take Brian Robinson, 6,800. Going against Miami.
At tight end, give me Pat Freiermuth, 5,800, going up against the Arizona Cardinals.
At wide receiver, give me Michael Pittman Jr., 7,900, going against Tennessee.
For my defense, give me the LA Rams, your defensive stream of the week, 3,700, going up against the Cleveland Browns.
That's tough.
I know. They were like the best, cheapest option.
Yeah.
And the way your lineup is constructed, you probably really needed that.
Yeah. I'm going to take Jonathan Mingo on my wide receiver 2, 54, wide receiver 3, 5,400, going against Tampa.
For my wide receiver 3, give me Josh Downs, 6,100, going up against Tennessee.
For my RB2, give me Jeff Wilson Jr., 5,500.
At quarterback, give me Russell Wilson, 7,400, going up against Houston.
At tight end, give me Tyler Croft, 4,100.
Tyler Croft or Tucker Kraft?
Tyler Croft.
Tyler Croft. What
wait. Oh, Tucker Kraft. Is he not that much? Oh, he's probably more expensive than that.
He's not even on he's not on the main slate. They play on Sunday.
They
play on Sunday night.
Man. This is rough right now. That Rams pick really must be out. Hold on. I'll fill there out. I'll give me the Saints defense, 3,600, going against Detroit.
In my flex, give me Christian McCaffrey, 9,800, going up against Philly. You got bread, you got to spend it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yeah, I'm well, I guess I guess I'll be playing Tyler Croft. There's literally no one else. Here.
How much is he? 4,100?
Let's see. Yeah, he's 4,100. Let me see.
And you this is funny.
It is.
Does he even play? Actually, like what?
Give me Pharaoh Brown. Yeah, 4,300. Pharaoh Brown, man, 4,300. That Rams defense really killed me. Crazy. I should have did that early.
Yo, I'm literally in tears right now. This is crazy. All right. So
not really. I mean, I only spent $100. So it was just whatever.
My quarterback, I have Russell Wilson, 7,400, going up against Houston. My quarterback start of the week. At running back, I've got Zach Moss, 5,600, who I think is probably going to be like the chalkiest of chalk this week. Everybody will have Zach Moss in their lineups. Jaylen Warren, 6,500, going up against Arizona. Portland Sutton, my wide receiver start of the week, 6,900, going up against Houston. At my third wide receiver or second wide receiver, I got Josh Downs, 6,100 going up against Indy. At my third wide receiver, I have Jalen Waddle, 7,800 going up against Washington. Get some of that leverage on Tyreek Hill and a stack with your Tua play. Tight end, I got Pat Frymouth, 5,800 going up against Arizona. In my flex, I've got Christian McCaffrey, 9,800 going up against Philadelphia. And as my defense, I've got Greg's stream of the week, the LA Rams going up against Cleveland, 3,700.
Yeah, quarterback, I have Tua Tagovailoa at 8,400 going against Washington. Bijan Robinson, 8,100 going against the Jets. Jeff Wilson Jr. my RB2 spot, 5,500 going against Washington. Tyreek Hill, 10,000 going against Washington as well. Jonathan Mingo, 5,400 going against Tampa. Michael Pittman Jr., my wide receiver 3, 7,900 going against Tennessee. Pharaoh Brown, 4,300 going against the Patriots. Brian Robinson Jr., 6,800 going against Miami. And the New Orleans Saints defense at 3,600 going against Detroit.
Yeah, I never spoken so early, but I really feel like I got this one.
I'm really big on that stack. Tua and Tyreek Hill should give me, hopefully, like 60 points.
Hopefully Jalen Waddle plays the whole game because that'd be nice.
Yeah.
All right, man. Greg, anything you want to say to the people before we close this one out?
No. I'm just excited for this week for sure. Starting tonight. Definitely hope Tony Pollard does what he has to do.
Yeah, most definitely, man. He's my start of the week, so I need that to happen. Plus, we are starting him in one of our leagues, so we definitely need that to happen as we continue to.
And Tyler Lockett. Give me some Tyler Lockett.
And Tyler Lockett, man. Just
man.
A touchdown would be nice. Yeah. I don't need a lot, Tyler. I just, like 4 receptions, 60 yards, a touchdown. That'd be nice,
That's
right? Like
awesome.
16 points.
Yeah.
Be real nice. But until next time, y'all, we will catch y'all later. Hopefully we are live the next time you see us. But until next time, y'all have a good one, and we are out of here. Peace. Yeah.